Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
You're listening to
Comics podcasting on the edge of civility.
That was phenomenally terrible.
I'm totally excited about this.
No, you shouldn't be excited about Piranha. Those effects in that opening sequence when Richard Dreyfuss was getting his ass eaten, Bruce the Shark looked better than that crap. Oh my God. It was,
Bruce the Shark is still amazing.
oh, get out.
Oh,
Elizabeth Shue
is in this movie.
Holy crap, she's not been getting a lot of work either.
Jerry O'Connell.
I don't know who that
Ving
is.
Rhames?
Ving Rhames. We knew Ving Rhames was in Piranha.
Jessica Cesar.
Zor.
I don't know who that is. Stephen. Wait, what?
Stephen R. McQueen.
Hey, Dinah Mayer. That's a personal favorite.
Dinah
of yours.
Mayer?
Yep.
Really?
And Christopher Lloyd.
All right. Well, we'll certainly have to pay attention to some aspects of this, but for the moment, let's talk about episode 67.
All right. What do we got?
Well, we're starting off with a phenomenal number of bat books all at once.
Really? Starting with the batbooks.
Yeah, well, we should get them over with. There's a lot of them before we run out of ideas.
Okay.
Oh, wait, that happened at episode 2.
Arguable, but probably accurate.
Let's do it in roughly alphabetical order then, eh?
Okay.
Batman 706. More of the I Ching problem and the Enigma/Riddler situation. And Damian potentially having a little prepubescence going on there.
Whoa, and he just got his first bat hair.
That's terrible. But, I mean, he does do a typical thing like, so who was she? And that amused me. Damian's kind of growing on me a little bit.
Really?
He's still an ass. He's still an arrogant ass. But he's got just enough little tweaks that amuse you. Like, so who is she?
I like the character development in the book. I did not particularly care for this I Ching storyline.
Yeah.
Which is just going on too long. I didn't like it much to begin with, and now it's just running longer. But there's nothing horrendous in this book. You can't sit there and go, oh, I hate this book. I saved that for some of the other Batman books. But in this case,
yeah,
it's totally acceptable. I just don't overly find it interesting. Like, the big samurai monster villain.
Yeah.
The blind wise, the twins with superpowers that feel each other's essence,
Yeah, it's kind of goofy. But I'm still not sure we need a Katrina Falcone as Catgirl routine. I mean, doesn't Catwoman get enough play in this and Birds of Prey that she really needs a ward to have to bring her around more often?
I gotta say that I don't give a flying patoot about Katrina Falcone in one or any level. I'm waiting for more of the Robin Katrina aspect.
Well, Katrina's like 16 or 17, so seeing how those two are going to interact, especially with his potentially pubescent stuff going on,
Yep.
And her being a complete twit, she might have to shoot him down several times, and he's going to have to get imperious and say, but my father's Batman. Or, but my father's Batman.
It's all true.
Well, I mean, at least he kicks her to the curb, and what's her Catwoman can't get mad that he put her in danger when finally facing I Ching.
There is that, but she's going to come back anyway. So.
Of course she is. And halfway through 707, she'll be there to rescue his ass, and then eventually Robin or Catwoman will have to rescue the both of them.
Yeah.
And, we'll have to deal with that moderateness and mediocrity when it comes. But, so, that's that story. Batman Beyond #1.
All set with Batman Beyond.
I got it because A, it's #1. B, it really is a good cover. It's very striking
I like the
cover.
aspects of all those covers. If I were you, I would jump on top of them just to have them. The whole iconic cover is very cool.
Yes. But I wasn't thoroughly impressed or smitten by the TV show. And the last miniseries I flipped through, and I wasn't like, well, this is the kind of thing I absolutely must own. And yet another incarnation of a young Justice League just leaves me in the cold.
It's true.
How many... Let's have another young version of another team again.
I did enjoy, however, the fact that they had the gang of Tweedledees and Tweedledums. That's awesome.
Eventually that was going to happen, because there was always the mutants. There's all the bigger psycho villains from Batman eventually had followings. It was going to trickle down, So while amusing, it doesn't really get a #2. Batman Confidential, which I've heard the semi-disappointing news is now canceled.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I gotta say, in the last year or so, I haven't read much in Batman Confidential that's blown me away.
No. The first 24 to 36 really rocked pretty well, for the most part. After, say, 38 to 40, it's just been kind of in a holding pattern, and individual bits of them have been, nice. But with this split storyline with the two threads and the two art styles, which is kind of Neil Adams-y and kind of...
Which I kind of like that they're going with the classic route. This is I don't care for the Asian Justice League storyline. I like what they're trying to do with the two at the same time. But the fact of the matter is that really there is not a lot since we've been doing this podcast. There hasn't been one particularly mind-blowing Batman Confidential storyline. You've had the Russian one, which we didn't overly care for.
Right.
The rogue cop one.
Yeah.
This one, I mean, can you think of anything else that's really blown you away?
Not particularly. And it goes back to yet another trope of stealing people's essences to power some other manifestation of evil again. These being clones of the green guy whose name escapes me at
and
the
now,
moment.
well, because it didn't have a name yet.
That's right.
But he's not actually an alien. He's actually a deformed human.
That's pretty damn deformed. I mean, that's like Marvel mutant level of deformation right there. And then clones. Everywhere there's goddamn clones.
It's
I'm tired of reading about clones. Stop that.
What?
I mean, well, theoretically, I guess you could call it Clone Wars. There's competing storylines that just want to grab your attention. So, in a sense, they're being combative about that. So, yes, in the broadest method of using terms,
which is
like
where I live.
I had a joke, but I wasn't going to go for it. It wasn't
What's
really,
your joke?
It wasn't really fully formed.
Okay.
So, yeah, Batman and Robin. Number 19. It's getting on to 2 years now that this stuff has been happening.
I will say that slowly but surely the Damian Grayson team is starting to gel for me.
Yeah.
But this hole in her head chick is so horribly bad. Like, so unkindly, wretchedly bad. And then the big, like, I'm like, oh, it's a classic villain with the giant scissors and the bag of eyeballs. And they're all fake.
So I was just screwing with you to get a little psychological edge on you, and you know, Damien comes through and says, "Fuck it, I'll sacrifice."
I just, and then the whole plot was everybody shot in her head gets a giant hole drilled through it, and it was a giant scam. that makes no sense because no one was looking for these people apparently anyway. Batman might have stopped us if I hadn't put a giant fucking extravaganza wedding of hole in the headdom. Wretchedly bad. And I'm not knocking this book. Like, this book is not my favorite. I've been very open about that, but it's been building in a character sense between the two of them to a point where I'm starting to get more comfortable with it. And this storyline is just exactly what you don't want. Are you ever going to be excited to see Captain Zero Brain again?
Captain Zero Brain. That's the title. Captain Zero Brain. You can relax. It's not going to be...
I thought you were going to go with his first bat hair.
No, definitely not. That's too much. But, yeah, the characterization between them and the byplay between them is doing just fine. I am a fan of that. The methods that the villains are using are so far into novelty that half the time I'm thinking people have been reading like Batman Family from the early 60s again.
This has a Batmite feel to it. I'll give you that.
A little bit.
I want Batman to fight classic villains or criminals or new villains that might become classic, and nothing about absence feels remotely classic.
No, I mean, like always, in the right hands, she might have something going for her.
I don't really believe it. I honestly think my brain is so tiny that you can shoot it out of my head. That was disgusting. And what are we watching, by the way?
Piranha.
And it's horrible. But there's nothing to this character that says to me someone could do something interesting with this. Sometimes, it's a balk. Today it's a balk. I thought I was going to swing and I'm not going to swing. All set with you. Go join Scalp Hunter and Mockingbird and the Trigger Twins, and we totally suck. There's nothing good that can be done with the Tallyman. Go date him. And when the Tallyman Absence double feature special edition comes out, do not call me. Double feature
special edition. The Absolute Edition, oversized hardcover with remastered coloring.
Ultimate Tallyman presents.
I can't handle that, man.
No one can. And there's a reason.
Wow. So, having said that about that, we dig the characters.
I think Batman and Robin is, evolving nicely. And it was a book that, it's always been a very strange book. And some of the Frank Whiteley stuff, art-wise, and the Grant Morrison writing made for some very weirdness in the past. But I will say they've developed the relationship between the two of them nicely over this book so far.
Right.
Particularly now that they're spending more time on the nuances of who they are and how they interact.
Yes, I see that very well. And I'll keep it around for that very reason. I can deal with a couple of Silver Agey bits of weirdness with the villains as long as those two seem like people and act like people between themselves, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, a character goes a long way, but writing is key with me, and we've always been over that. And so far, there may be good writing develops character, but also doesn't throw the worst possible villain.
There is that. So maybe, who's doing it these
I
days
have
again?
more hope for Batman and Robin
Hopefully
of late than I have earlier.
Yes.
So I'll take that. I don't have the Joker pretending to be a superhero that's creepy for no good reason. Things are getting better.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Fruit Loop. He's a nuthatch. He's totally beyond the pale of craziness. But why would even the Joker pretend he was an entirely different...
To mess with the Batman!
I guess that's something. Now, Epoch in Superman Batman 80, it's amazing that one single book has got a new recent book has gotten all the way up to 80, and it's not Walking Dead.
It's about time. I want to see more books evolving, and Superman Batman is, again, like what I'd hoped for Batman Confidential, the classic, storytelling, different artists, different writers, and again, not blowing me away. Here we have more alternate future history.
Yeah, but this time there was a purpose to it. Well, not a purpose, strictly speaking, but or a method, really. But it was one and done. It's one shot. It's Epoch just trying to take stuff over, And it's not any dubious reasons. It's just he's an idiot and he thought it would be easier to conquer things in the past. So he flip-flops around time, does the best he can, gets bitch slapped every time, no matter what variation on a costume they give the heroes.
But
some of which were pretty interesting, and others were, what the hell was the point of that?
He created a giant loop to trap people in, and then eventually they find their way out. This has been done for every hero. Like, you like to talk a lot about tropes.
Yeah.
And everything in this issue was a definitive trope.
Oh, yeah. But they kept it contained to one story this time.
Fair enough.
To one issue.
And again, there's nothing wretched about it. It's just not doing anything I particularly want to see. There have been some really, really good Batman, Superman. Much better than some of the confidentials I've read.
Yep.
And this wasn't it.
Yeah, well.
It wasn't wretched. It wasn't horrifyingly bad.
It was solid enough. I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah,
which means you're going to stick with it.
That's my job.
I had huge hopes for Detective Comics. 870, 871, 872. They moved along.
I thought we were going to see...
They had some atmosphere to them. We're back to not quite street-level crime, but non-super weirdness, domino-infected, pigskin-wearing doofuses. They had some interesting twists, like, we all wore the gas masks to screw you, and your filters are actually the one that has the problem, blah, blah, blah. So, I was like, yeah, okay, moving forward, looking good, getting back to tradition. And they end it with a simple, I'm going to turn into a venom-powered Man-Bat.
Dude, blah. Very disappointing.
Blah.
I thought they were building a nice atmosphere. They were moving towards a storyline I was intrigued by. And the whole selling of supervillain gear has been done before. Bendis did it right in the opening of the new Avengers.
Yeah. Well, these were more mementos. Gear. The fact that some of them were gear was incidental. It was, items that were instruments in a given case, more so.
True, but the whole, people selling gear, fine. I get that. I thought this was good. It was nicely done. It was building a nice creepy atmosphere. And then...
Right.
Suddenly it goes into, I'm a demon-looking...
Yeah, a severely mutated Man-Bat problem.
Yeah.
And I was like...
It was a big letdown from what was my favorite Batman storyline to date in these current books.
Which leads us to some crazy Avengers shit in Avengers 9, right? In which we find that Parker Robbins, the deposed Hood, who
he's already been deposed, then he had the Norn
Stones.
And now he's got the Infinity Gauntlet gems.
Yes.
Parker Robbins could get kicked out of a plane,
and someone would find a way to save his ass.
And he'd land in a giant pile of marshmallow, roll out of it onto a hot chick, and have sex. Like, Parker Robbins really can't have bad luck for more than 5 minutes.
It's terrible, isn't it?
It's phenomenal if you're Parker Robbins, but...
And he's got a lot of dough to be paying off guards and shit.
Well, he has been basically involved in every crime ever since Bendis took over the Avengers.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But Cap, and we knew this would eventually happen. Cap
and
has
Tony
found out about the Illuminati, and he is pissed.
This is why I like Bendis' writing, because things that he's done, he doesn't forget about. Things that other people have done, he hasn't forgotten about. Now, I actually, if you recall, originally asked why Cap wasn't in the Illuminati.
Right?
And this proves
Because he was going to need
why
him
you were right and
to
I
be
was
a
wrong.
counterpoint to the Illuminati.
But not even that, but he wouldn't have done it.
No, he wouldn't have.
You know, I thought of it like almost a Justice League where you get the big guys and you're like, no, they're behind the radar, and the fact of the matter is, Cap wouldn't do it, and now we see why and how they do each other.
Yep. And I think this blow up is going to be quite interesting later on. Although I was surprised that Thor actually took Tony's part to a degree. He knows that... I mean, it was clear they were arguing right... Well, they weren't arguing. Cap was laying down the law right in front of them. And he's just like, Tone, prove you're cool. You're going to be okay if you can just show Cap that everything's going to work out fine because of what we're all planning here about this. If we can just work this out, everybody will be happy and everybody will be safe. So, it's nice to see that Thor is putting his trust back in Tony.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the Avengers comes down to 3 people, or 3.5 if you want to truly loathe Hank Pym as much as I do. But it's the Cap, Tony, Thor show, and every time that you get Hawkeye or Giant Man or Hercules, you know that you're just not getting the legit Avengers that you want.
Yep.
You might deal with them. You might even be happy with some of the storylines.
I've been happy with a few of the storylines.
Yeah, absolutely. But the fact of the matter is anytime you see Submariner in the Avengers, you're like, this is not...
No, that's not going to be cool.
You want Cap, you want Tony, you want Thor. And as a result, they have a phenomenal reputation together.
Alright. So, no, these are all good points. And do you remember Parker Robbins really getting busy with Whitney?
Yes. Yeah, they made that very clear in the Avengers.
Now, how is she going to be Madame Mask without the mask?
Well, she
Is
can
she
still
just gonna-
have the mask. She's
going
going
to
to
keep it
deformed
on
under it.
Well, now Tony doesn't have to feel weirded out and guilty that he banged her.
Well, she wasn't deformed when he banged her, right? Like, he found out.
Or something like that. I don't know.
It's madness. Still my favorite Bendis line of all time
Which
was
one?
from the Illuminati when Tony and Doctor Strange were talking about dating after Clea left Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
You think you have it rough. I went to bed with a woman who looks like Doctor Doom.
Why would you do that?
Moving on. That was the highlight of the entire 5-issue Illuminati series for me.
So in New Avengers, number 8, we get a little bit of relationship building.
I
most
love
of the
that.
book.
I thought it was just the perfect little build-up of where they are.
And the byplay was nice. I mean, going through Jessica Jones, Power Woman. What? Power Man, Power Woman. Because I'm Power. No, I get it. Power Woman. Repeating it isn't going to make it. Come on. No, Power Woman. Stop. You know.
No,
Sometimes Bendis's back and forth little bing 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 rat-a-tat dialogue irritates me, but
Yes.
then there are scenes like this where it's just hilarious.
I love Bendis' writing. I've been open about that, and I think this is a perfect example of why it works. Like, it feels like two people on a date talking about their relationship who just happen to have ridiculous superpowers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this time, yes. I mean, he's had the back and forth before that has just been irritating.
I've never
You know?
I've never found it particularly that way, but I know you have.
I mean, it's like Hey, Cap. I think before we go bust Doctor Doom there, I think we should spend several hours recapping events. Recapping events? Yeah, recapping. Several hours, huh? Yeah, several. Several hours recapping events? Yeah. Really? Yeah.
I've never overly seen it that way. I know you have.
I mean, there are some that's almost exactly that. But the poor waitress in this book, man, all she wants
That
to
was
do
hysterical.
all she wants to do is take a damn order, and these two won't stop their little verbal sparring between each other.
That was truly awesome.
And then, you know, she doesn't even get a tip because they don't have dinner because they have to fight a Doombot.
And dude, about time to see a Doombot.
We haven't seen a Doombot for a long time because I never did, follow up on Doom War. I know there's got to be a few in Doom War, but I didn't bother with them at all. So, what was it? Who didn't know that he had Doombots? Was it Power Man?
I thought it was Spider-Man.
You beat up Dr. Doom. No, it's just a Doombot. A Doombot? That's a freaking Doombot? What the hell is it doing here? One of them didn't know.
Pardon us while we research.
And then they all have breakfast the next morning and
Well,
have
who
a big
was
long
it?
to do about it. Huh?
Who was it?
I'm looking for that. I was going to move on until I actually found it.
Dude, all 7 listeners are dying to know.
Fine, let me back up. What the hell's a Doombot? You used to be a detective. What's it sound like? A robot made to look like Dr. Doom that Dr. Doom made because he's crazy in love with himself. Bingo. What's it doing here? Must have been Jessica that didn't know.
She was a hero for less time.
Well, she was the one that was asking, so... You owe me a dinner, mister. Yo, Gabba Gabba. Look at what you all did.
Wait, stop reading. You mad bastard. All right, so...
Yo, Gabba Gabba.
Did not anticipate hearing that.
Yo, Gabba Gabba.
I enjoyed this issue immensely. It's a fun little read. They throw a Doombot in there, which is always fun.
Yeah, I'm very happy with New Avengers.
New
'Cause they had
Avengers
the
and
whole-
Avengers are both working.
They had the whole paycheck thing going on previously, and that was amusing, and that was very real.
Up until
if he
they
won't give
revamped
up his
everything, New
identity-
Avengers is my favorite book out there.
Yeah.
I pick up the graphics all the time. Love it. But then we hit Secret Avengers.
In which the out of nowhere John Steele guy, who may or may not have been an American soldier superhero all the way back as far as 1860s,
Yeah, that John Steele.
shows up.
You've got Shang-Chi. You've got Moon Knight pretending to be evil villain to sneak into their compound for the Flash ending.
You've got Max Fury trying to recruit Sharon Carter.
Oh, I cannot handle this book. I can't. I'm sorry. Not only is it not... I mean, first off, you took Fu Manchu, who they can't even use the name of anymore. So now he's a decrepit zombie supervillain. Yay! On top of which you throw Nick Fury's illegitimate clone little brother Max.
Illegitimate clone little. Maybe that's the title. Illegitimate clone little brother. And it's Brubaker.
I think Brubaker's a phenomenal writer. Maybe it's going somewhere. First off, if Valkyrie, I don't even like the cast. I just don't care about half these people. You don't even have Captain America. You've got Steve Rogers, super
soldier.
Bah humbug.
I'm Steve. Although I'm still wondrously impressed that Mike Diodato has changed his style so much and it looks so awesome.
Diodato is a phenomenal artist. Back in the day, he used to be more of for lack of a better term, girly pinup.
Yeah. That's
his stuff on Wonder Woman, you're like, okay, the action isn't blowing me away, but the chicks are all ridiculously well drawn.
Well,
and he did do a phenomenal Joker.
Yes, there is that.
And his stuff on Thor was awesome too.
Yes, until you started looking at the anatomy too much.
I really don't spend the time looking at cartoon anatomy that you do, which we've discussed.
Well, I mean, if you stop for half a second and just look instead of absorb and react.
Right.
Oh my God, there's a picture of a girl. Great. But, you know, if you look at it, and no one else is seeing this, but I'm putting my hand in front of my face.
Yeah, I'm seeing it, sadly, so move the fuck on.
You notice that a lot of times he had these little tiny wasp-waisted chicks whose thighs were
I remember
longer,
you discussing that.
Not only longer than their entire torso, when it should be roughly equal, but also wider.
I do remember you trying to convince me that he made weird thighs and never fully understanding why we had to have that conversation.
At any rate, but at least they got people going in disguise now and actually being secretive.
Yeah, but it's Moon Knight.
Yeah, but, you know...
You can't even make that...
You're the one that was trying to convince me that Moon Knight should be better regarded.
I loved the Moon Knight Sienkiewicz series. You're the one who's pointed out that repeatedly that everything since then has been appallingly bad.
But now they're using him, and now they're trying to get him into an arena and a type of role where he can be the Batman analog that they've always thought they wanted him to be,
I don't think
but never
he can,
executed.
I mean,
well, we got to find out. We got to give it a little bit of time and make sure of it.
the fact of the matter is that Moon Knight, once you bring multiple personalities into the equation, you're never going to be Batman.
I'm not sure they'll bother with that in Secret Avengers. They may mention it here and there, but I don't think it'll be a huge factor. Oof.
No, you can't take that out of it.
Sure they can. He can stabilize for given missions. He can pop an antidepressant or an antipsychotic for a given mission. You know, it's all right.
I don't know. The fact of the matter is, if you like writing a character, you should respect what's been done with the character before. Even if it's bad, you got to work with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, Green Lantern Corps 56.
I gotta say, of all the Green Lantern books, Green Lantern Corps right now is my favorite.
Yes.
Yes. I like where Sinestro's going. The battle with the lanterns protecting the Thunderers and the Warmongers.
It was nice how it was kind of Weasley, but Weasley's not that bad. Occasionally you need some Weaseling to get a good story out of something. They're not supposed to break the truce, but the truths
TRUTHS.
The truce is built on not using power rings. But, you know, yeah, that's kind of Weasley. I mean, there are two corps. They're not supposed to fight because of the truce. But is that really the same as not using rings? I mean,
Hey, you know, as long as it makes sense, then you go for it.
Combat's combat. And how does that not count just because it's not a
well,
ring?
because they're not. If the rings aren't involved, then you're not breaking the ring code.
Yeah, I guess.
So, by that theory, a Black Lantern could kill you by punching you
Yeah.
and be okay. But, you know, so there's a problem.
But it is going to be fun to see different methods of getting down in this book, because giant fists and, you know, semi trucks running into people, all made in solid colors, is not going to be. It's not all that interesting after a while. It's like, all right, he made a big green round shield. Oh boy!
But I really like the fact that you've taken things from the greatest miniseries of all time, arguably, in Quar.
Quar?
Yeah, the Thunderers of
Quard.
Quard. Sorry, I forgot a D. How
Weaponers of Quard.
Weaponers. Or Thunderers, there's two.
There's each two casts, yes.
But they've done all that.
Ew. What is it with people puking all the time? What is this obsession everyone has with showing puking on screen these days?
They make things feel real.
That's not fucking good enough.
But, so, right, I've had my problems with the Green Lantern books since Blackest Night, because they haven't resolved anything well. They haven't moved on tightly for me. I loved the graphics you brought over the Sinestro Corps War. I loved what they started with Blackest Night, and then unfortunately, it just sort of spread into this mess. That
it's not really moving. There are micro developments, and again, it's back to the uncompressed storytelling again.
Yeah,
as we called one of our previous episodes, the bastard child of Chris Claremont, and it's just getting to a point where you gotta tighten things up, give it an end, and start a whole fresh story later.
Well, there's a double argument there, and we've actually been on both sides of that argument, because sometimes bringing a thing and not resolving it, we've raved about.
Yeah.
Because it does make for better storytelling to not have a 3-issue arc end, 3-issue arc end. The problem here is that this is such a Legion thing that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, this is like 2 years now.
Yeah, Brightest Day is on issue 18. And
to be fair, that's bi-weekly, so it really isn't.
But still, like, and
it's still
do you
18
know where it's going?
No, it's still 18 issues of plot in tiny chunks over like 7 different threads.
Yeah, for 6 issues, all I was really sure about was that Dead Man likes hamburgers.
Awesome. Actually, that was that was one of the quotes of the year over on CGS. They did their year-end best of, and the nominees were "I brought my biggest combat spoon" from some issue of Action Comics.
Okay.
Have a cheeseburger. And a couple of other things that I didn't actually recognize. So, but that's a good line. When faced with the kind of situation that Boston Brand was in, who just couldn't make a decision and just wanted to know what in God's name to do next. Fuck it, have a cheeseburger, man.
Hey, I gotta say, dude, if I suddenly died, I'd miss you, kinda. I'd miss L Girl. I'd miss the Muppets.
What the
and
hell
Charlie
is an
Brown.
L Girl?
L Girl. I'm making.
Oh, EL.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were L dash. I'm like, what the fuck is an L Girl?
I'd miss the Muppets. I'd miss Snoopy. But I would definitely miss a goddamn cheeseburger.
And if you got an opportunity to come back, where would you go first for that cheeseburger?
Well, you know what? I'd miss sex too, but it's a hell of a lot easier to get a cheeseburger on the fly.
Where would you go for that cheeseburger?
Dude, if I came back, I'd be mostly jumping up and down going, woo! So really, whatever was closest.
Well, when you got tired of that, when your 80-year-old heart gave out and you decided, yeah, I gotta stop now.
I would go
or
wherever.
I'm going back again.
I would go wherever you could get a cheeseburger and beer. That's true. You're gonna buy it, aren't you?
No, the effects are too poor, and clearly the plot isn't moving forward enough. It's been a good 40 minutes, and they're just now discovering that these stupid fish are from like the Pleistocene era or something.
Fish are eating people.
But they can be caught. They can be killed. And
well, yeah, they're fish.
They got at least another 40 minutes to an hour before they figure out how to do this and have a climax, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be a worthwhile effort. So Piranha is off the boards for a rental. Totally getting it. I got Emerald Warriors 7. Alright?
You need to finish out the storyline
because I want to finish
for
out
the fight.
The storyline for the big fight.
But I'm totally done with this book.
Yeah, I love Kilowog.
They're not doing anything.
I've always
with
been
him.
endeared to Kilowog.
I like Guy Gardner when he's funny. I like
when he's a funny bastard.
I really
Guy
don't care
Gardner
about
is a
Arisa,
worthwhile character. When he's trying to be earnest, not so much.
Kilowog's a great character, and he's always earnest, which I have a certain respect for.
No, I meant Guy.
Guy is definitely more fun when he's funny, or at least when he's
Pissy?
No, you know what? Action Guy has never done anything for me compared to the other Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
You know, he's always been an over-the-top character, and the subtlety of the Lanterns has worked better for me.
Right.
Like, when you have Angry Guy, you might as well have totally humorless Jon Stewart sitting there.
Yeah.
Going, I'm an
Pretty
Army
much.
veteran. I date blue women.
And I don't know that Guy's really much of a leader, which is kind of the position he's found himself having to deal with.
Well, you know,
I mean, he's on his
he's always
expedition.
seen himself
he's
that
bringing
way.
Arisia, and he has seen himself that way, but it's never really panned out properly for him. Right?
Yeah, no, he's always been a particularly poor leader, quite honestly.
Oh, parasailing chick has lost her legs to Piranha. Ugh.
And today's worst day ever is brought to you by...
The producers of Piranha 3D.
Is this movie actually 3D?
I think this version was it had the 3D option. Terrible. So let me finish out Emerald Warriors and Call
Yeah,
of Duty.
you know, because the villain is the best part of this book right now. With the lanterns all in stasis and using the eyes for his creepy method. Like, so far, that's the strongest part of Emerald Warriors.
Yep.
Alright, what's next?
Thor 619.
Odin is back and pissed.
He's mad. Tyr or Tyr. I'm telling you. Pronunciation guide.
Worst
Gotta have it.
purchase ever.
I thought Tyr was stuck in hell, man. When did he come back? No?
Are you thinking of Scourge? The execution?
Yeah, I'm totally thinking of Scourge.
How good am I that I identified that, by the way? No, Scourge, the execution. Tyr is the god of war. Tyr's been an interesting character in the Thor panel. Because sometimes he's been a total douche. Other times he's been, the key god. And he actually was a big portion of the recent storylines. And they've made him a much higher character. And, of course, this is his and Baldur's fall down, go boom moment.
So a lot of this is simple exposition and determining who's responsible for what and why Odin's mad. And there's a big battle, and finally, the lead invader from the other dimension convinces his red spiky wife that she'll have revenge for her son.
Right, but this is because you see Baldur kill the son. Let's not forget that part.
Which is fine. They were invading, that's what they get. You know, you don't come into my house, tell me what's what, slaughter my goblins. My dwarves that look like goblins, by the way.
Dwarf goblins. Who doesn't love dwarf goblins?
Nobody doesn't love dwarf goblins. Except gnome goblins. You know, there's a little...
There's always a little bitterness when you're a gnome.
Well, especially a gnome goblin. Because they lose out the cushy jobs to the... Never mind.
There's only so far you can go with gnome humor before you've stepped over the boundaries of good taste.
Iron Man 500.
So we follow fraction with fraction.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Iron Man is that they're slowly following up on things. So here we have an Iron Man storyline that goes into the future, which you generally hate,
Yeah.
and slaughters a bunch of fake Starks that you've never heard of and don't care about, but does it in a way where he's revealing by the end of it where he was at the beginning. And what I mean by that is, and you can take a spoiler alert or whatever off this, I don't give a shit. You have Iron Man trying to figure out, with Spider-Man's help,
what in the hell
what he
was
invented
working on.
That was so fucking creepy that he still kind of remembers it.
Even though it was never backed up and it was never restored to his head.
And then when
It was so crazy there was echoes of it sleeping around there like a carbon of a carbon of a carbon of a carbon.
And then once they figure that out, Spider-Man is able to convince Iron Man to put a block in it so it doesn't fuck up the world.
Right.
Because you can't uninvent something. Like, this is why I love Fraction as a writer, is because there's a depth to the writing.
There is. And now...
was there a backup story in 500 as well? I'm going to draw a blank on that, I'm going to be honest.
Strictly speaking, there was an 8-pager...
that led up to the next one. That's right. It was a preview to...
No, it was about Rhodey getting a new suit.
Yeah.
So, but this new concept that they got, because people are so concerned that there's too much continuity for anybody to get into a book.
With Iron Man, that's actually very valid.
Well, Iron Man has a frighteningly complex history.
Only in the recent past. Like, you could just be like, oh, he's a genius who drinks a lot and bangs women and flies in armor. But now...
But they do it in a rather... I don't know if it's strictly innovative, because people have had to retell their stories in books before. And it seemed a little snarky for what you would find in an AA meeting.
You know what? I actually kind of respected the fact that they used one of the key factors of his personality to define how they were telling the rest of his story. If you look at it from that angle, I kind of see your point that, it's like, oh, whatever.
Well, I mean, he did get a little smart-ass.
Well, he is Tony Stark. He gets smart-ass. But the fact of the matter is that they took him going to AA, which revealed a huge facet of his character,
right
and
off
used
the
that
bat
to reveal other characters. To me, that's good writing.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, at the end of the issue, which was awesome, they revealed that he banged Pepper Potts with no memory of it, which is why he's not allowed to do that anymore. Tell me that's not awesome.
That was enjoyable. That was pretty good. And I don't know why they couldn't just call this a filler issue and throw it in between 500 and 501.
Because what they're trying to do...
501.
501 is going to be a regular issue. 500.1 is, hey, we just hit this milestone. This is where we're at. Come join us.
I can see the logic behind it. It seems more... Yes, it's totally marketing. There's no reason for me to say it seems to be marketing. It's totally marketing.
But it's a much better marketing ploy than in general for this kind of thing. Think back to all the annuals where they're all talked about their top 10 villains or this or that.
Those practically read as encyclopedias.
Yeah.
And as you know, it is not fair for me to judge an encyclopedic issue because I like encyclopedias.
Well, yeah, it's true too. But the fact of the matter is that they took all the things you need to know and put it within a framework that worked for the character. And I have a great deal of respect for that kind of level.
All right. Let's see if the rest of them can tell a story in a similar level of quality.
This is true too.
Leaving us with the bastion of quality and uncompressed storytelling, or the quality in uncompressed storytelling that is Unwritten.
I still love Unwritten.
Yes, absolutely right.
I, again, feel as a casual reader, it'll work a lot better in graphic format.
Sure.
Because so far, not a ton is getting resolved on a day-by-day basis in this book. So where we're currently at is we have...
Tommy is stuck in Moby Dick. And Lizzie...
That sounds horrible.
And Lizzie and what's his face?
I really don't care about that dude.
The other guy are trying to find answers and trying to... Whoa! Holy frig.
But I love how Lizzie's dealing with the fact that he's a vampire and trying to figure out what kind of literary vampire he is. Like, there's so much clever writing in Unwritten that I can't help but rave about it.
Really? She's going to take out a lake full of piranha with a taser?
Only the immediate vicinity.
It didn't even do that. It burst one, and that's it.
Worst piranha ever.
Wow. Terrible. So anyway, he's stuck in Moby Dick, and Lizzie and What's-His-Face are trying to get out of it. They go to the Marionetta, which is just a female marionettist.
Well, they don't go to her. She captures them.
She captures them.
Let's be fair. Meanwhile, Tommy is visiting his father because since his father has visited the book before,
he's got an automatic in, and he's actually part of it now.
Right. He leaves a mark behind him.
Oh, this guy's an ass.
Well, come on, dude. It's a movie called Piranha. You didn't think there'd be a douchebag or two? No, I can't tell people enough to go pick up this book. Like, find the first one, start from the beginning. It builds phenomenally. It never goes where you think it's going to go. It's a great, great book.
It's worth every penny. It really is.
Which is hard to say in this day and age.
The beating for information scene where she's controlling him with the marionettes, and she's like, well, you're not working hard enough, and it's not getting what I want out of you, so why don't we switch and have the other ones get you for now? I'm watching. It's insanity. And this guy was going through an entire crowd like that. It rips her face off. Absolutely nuts. No, she doesn't get the answers she wants, so she's like, alright, well, we'll try over again, switch, and let's go.
One of the really good things about this book is how well it does different genres. Just like a novel in that sense. It does creepy very well. It had that horror moment when the guy with the sideburns was slaughtering the whole the whole group in that house at the same time and hunting them down. Like, it jumps genres just like it would. My favorite issue is still probably the guy who was trapped in the cartoon book and trying to deal with that.
Ah, yes, there's the rabbit.
Right, because not only was it awesome, but it also went somewhere horrible at the end that you didn't expect at all. It was a really, really good book.
So it's a huge bonus to it's everything comics should be, even without having to say it's a Vertigo comic. We don't have to say it's everything a Vertigo should be.
Well, do you remember when Vertigo first came out and I was obsessed?
No.
And I bought the one-shots like Prez and Dr. Occult. And
I don't think I was there for that.
Well, you know what? I experimented with different stuff. And the fact of the matter is there's no brand out there that doesn't put a poor book out once in a while.
Well, sure.
You have to give time.
Look at Invisibles.
Well, again, that's your anti-Grant Morrison.
Well, I was just setting you up on that one. I was hoping to get a bite.
But there's definitely, you're always looking for great books, and they come from everywhere.
They do.
Mark Waid's Flash had nothing to do with the, negative, dark side stuff like Max or a Vertigo. So you hope for everything to be better, and every now and then a book really does hit it, and for me, Unwritten is one of those books.
I'm with you. I'm so glad I took the chance on it.
Yeah.
I saw it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Unwritten. It's a damn good title, though, about, it's a book that needs to be written. So what is it? What is not... You can't even say that properly. What is unwritten? Oh, this is interesting. It's, and it totally threw you off from the very first issue, because you thought you was like, oh, okay, it's a Harry Potter ripoff. No.
There's a huge aspect to that right from the get-go.
And then it just zoop, turn around. No, that's coincidence. There's, they use that as a springboard, but that wasn't really the whole thing.
It's definitely an aspect, but it's very far from the only one.
Leaving us with the big time concept of Amazing Spider-Man.
Now,
so I'm not getting a reaction out of you here.
What, for Spider-Man?
Yeah.
So we have 3 issues here of Spider-Man. The first one involves the Black Cat and the end of the preliminary Hobgoblin storyline.
Right.
At this point, I'm still enjoying the book.
Yeah.
It's I really didn't need another creepy Hobgoblin who's a friend of.
Yeah. How many times can you have that little thing going on?
But now he's
And
kind
how
of
many
lame and using the Hobgoblin to get dates, which is the worst fucking thing ever.
Yeah, and he's trying to be, Deadpool at the same time with the whole "I brought pie" thing.
Yeah, he's obviously a very weird dude.
I'll take my mysterious. I'll take my mysterious Ned Leeds Hobgoblin, who was menacing, and we weren't quite sure. And he wasn't a smartass. He just was just a criminal.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know or haven't seen it, the Piranha movie, a fish just vomited up a human dong, which is...
Totally unacceptable.
Yeah, that works for me. That'll work. Alright, so from there we go into the next storyline, which is...
The setup for the Spider Slayer coming back, Alistair Smythe.
Yeah. As well as Matt Gargan reinvented as...
The Scorpion again.
Which is, where he belongs, but still.
Yeah, he should never... This movie is terrible, man. Wow, they put a lot of money into the makeup, but not a whole lot into the CGI. It would be 10 times more convincing if the CGI matched the mutilation makeup. And Ving Rhames is just randomly playing skeet with jumping Piranha here. Wow, that's terrible.
Yep.
And now he's going to try to mix master him with the goddamned outboard.
Moving on.
So there's some character building moments with the whole Carly being a roller derby girl.
Sorry, I can't stand Carly. Just date Mary Jane. Just freaking end this nightmare. Alright, it was annoying enough when you fake banged your roommate as you were the chameleon or whatever the hell happened there. I can't do it anymore. You've had the perfect woman, you know who it is. Everything else is a waste of my damn time.
Pretty much. Joey Q, why you fucking with us?
Just like Spider-Man. You know what? Couldn't we just write a Spider-Man storyline where his life didn't suck?
Well, that's what they're trying to do with Big Time.
It still sucks. He's got this new job. He's got this weird
No,
girlfriend.
his life is doing fine.
It isn't, though.
How is it not?
Well, he's being attacked by the Spider Slayer, first off.
Well, I mean, that was always going to happen. We weren't going to get a white picket fence Spider-Man.
But the fact of the matter is that his aunt is still married to J. Jonah Jameson's father. He's dating this weird girl who might figure who it is at any given point because she's got access to complete police fucking files on him. His ex-wife / girlfriend / whatever is still floating around messing with his current relationship, and still he's kind of thinking about her. And on top of that, Black Cat is sitting around going, "Oh hey, look, my zipper fell down again." I'm sorry, there's goddamn madness going on.
You're looking at too many details of it.
That's what the...
Look at it.
How do you not look at detail?
Well, I'm not saying you shouldn't look at any details or shouldn't examine them closely. I'm saying you're getting a little nutsy with it.
I'm just saying, like, I just want Spider-Man to be with Mary Jane
Peter
and
Boy
beat up dudes. Like, how hard is that?
He's done that. He had a nice big fight with Scorpion. And he used his fucking brains in the middle of it.
Freaking...
On the space shuttle, granted.
Thank you.
I'm not going to take that away from you. I thought...
Where a wolf was driving, I haven't forgotten.
No, I don't think... Very few people who would listen to us would forget that John Jameson was the werewolf by night.
No, you're wrong.
What?
John? No, absolutely not.
No, he was just a werewolf.
No, he was Man-Wolf.
Oh, man. Get picky about it.
Hey, Werewolf by Night is a very definitive character. And Man-Wolf went off to space and fought with swords.
It physically hurt you to pull out that sentence, didn't
Dude,
it?
I had Man-Wolf issue. Like, oh my lord. I can't even believe that happened.
Oh, I'm going to laugh about that for days,
well,
monsieur.
Of course you are.
But really, he's got it. Where are you going now?
I like to bounce around.
Every time I start a sentence, you're wandering off somewhere.
That's how I feel.
You want me to lose my sentence so you can steal all the star power, don't you?
I am the Thunderbringer.
You fucking suck. So, Peter's got a big boy job that uses his big boy brain.
Finally.
That we've been told that he's a phenomenal scientist for decades, but he's been too busy being emo to do anything about it. He's got a girlfriend that, despite the fact that you don't like her, she likes him just fine and is not insane or, right at the moment, a target for someone dressed in green and purple. He's in with Tony Stark. He doesn't like the idea, but he's got his fingers into the rest of the Marvel U, and he still has time to... He doesn't have to worry about his fucking aunt anymore. That right there is enough for me to say, okay, I'll deal with the fact that this old biddy is still alive after 60 fucking years. Her and her goddamn wheat cakes.
Well, she has
Have you
died
ever had a
like
wheat
3
cake?
times now. No, I've never had a wheat. Dude,
No one's ever had a wheat cake.
You seen how I eat?
Who eats wheat cakes? I don't know anyone personally who's ever had a damn wheat cake.
Who likes wheat cakes? Banana.
No one likes wheat cakes. Banana.
Alright, fair enough. But no, I just, after the gauntlet and whatnot, there's a lot of really enjoyable stuff going on with Spider-Man. And for the Spider Slayers to jump out, not hitting the same level for me.
Spider Slayers that control bug-like people enhanced. Gah! More face eating on the fucking piranhas. Don't like it. Do not want. Where did that leave? Which one we already saw
the next two are basically all Spider Slayer based.
And the action, while over the top in some regards, like being on the surface of the goddamn space shuttle, was okay. I wasn't like, ooh, check what they did there. But he was able to pull some strings and get the Avengers to hook him up.
Yeah,
which is something they hardly ever fucking do. And they've made mention of this in several books. We got a huge crisis. Why aren't you calling the Avengers? You know them. I was sure they were busy. What? No! Fucking try. But the fact that, he got Squirrel Girl taking care of Luke.
I can't even hear the name.
The fact that he got Squirrel Girl, who was taking care of Luke and Jessica's baby at the time, and was happy to do it. That sounds terrible. Although, they got Caselli here has some really nice expressions on
I'm
Squirrel
totally
Girl.
enjoying the art. I think there's a lot of strong things happening in Spider-Man. The girlfriend thing for me is rough. I don't care for this whole Carly character with her wacky retro antics.
Retro antics.
I enjoy rollerblading, and my dad may be a criminal, but I'm a police. God damn it. Stop sucking. Just date Mary Jane, for God's sake. We know that's what it's going to come down to.
But what's really going to irritate you in the next issue... Oh, you haven't read it yet.
That's true.
I'm going to leave you to the next issue, and I know you're going to be irritated by several things.
Oh, super.
So, we're going to call that one even. Let's get a mini episode. Let's call this one even and get a mini episode in.
All right.
So, kids, you can find us at www.themeangeek.com.
Although we know you won't.
Correct. Thecomicforums.com. Go visit our excellent new friends, comicgeekspeak.com.
Which we know you will.
Follow us on Twitter.
Which we know you won't.
You can join the fans at Facebook.
Please, God, someone like us.
Wouldn't you? Come on.
That's
And,
funny.
Just tell anybody you want to know. Tell people that you know that we exist and you want them to hook us up. Please? No? Alright then, fuck you. Good night.
Bless you, fuckers.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. You can find us on iTunes, Podcast Alley, Facebook, Comic Space, our own site, www.themeangeek.com. Subscribe to us through RSS, and most importantly, find us as a proud member on the Comics Podcast Network. Contact us directly through email at themeanergeek@gmail.com.